When I was reflecting about my life ahead of penning, I don't want to die unknown. And through that process, I realized that my life so far has really been assisted and driven along four pillars, if I can call them that. One is the pillar of values. And I kept on going back. I didn't realize many times when my father said some things or did some things, or my mother said something or did something, that actually those were values. And over the years, in living my life, in how I've carried myself with my family and friends and people who are close to me, values have become very, very important. Then the issue of spirituality and faith has also been central. That's the other pillar, the third pillar that these podcasts will be addressing. Our podcast, They Don't Die Unknown. And it comes through in parts of the book. But for me, it's been around understanding that you are not alone, understanding that you actually have more power inside you than you than you give yourself. It's not about religion. Then the other one is inner voice. I realize on reflection of my life, the value, the importance of listening to the inner voice. I didn't understand it for the longest time. But I know today, and I'm convinced today, that had I not listened to my inner voice way back in 1979, I would have died that year. I'm convinced. And then finally is the issue of family. Roots, identity. Yeah, the podcast Don't Die Unknown, I feel and I think as well, it's needed to make sure that people understand they can realize lives of significance. Because if you live, you were born and you live, you go through this life, your end of days come, and you haven't had impact beyond yourself, you haven't had impact around you, then you would have achieved the worst thing, which is an unlived life. Okay? So for me, the Don't Die Unknown podcast, I'm hoping and I'm praying, is going to help people realize that they can live lives with meaning because of who they are, not to be somebody else. There's no need to imitate somebody else and say, I want to touch lives, people like so-and-so. No, you've got your own God-given gifts, as I say, the gifts that you landed on this planet Earth with, and those are the ones that you can take out and touch people's lives with, and they will have an impact. One thing I've realized as well in my journey of life is we always have an impact on people, whether we realize it or not, okay? You might think, no, nobody. We always do. In your circle, in your family, in your neighborhood, you always have an impact on people. The people who stand on podiums and shout and make vivas and stuff like that are not necessarily those who have the best impact on people, are not those who got that impact of significance. They're the quieter ones who are sitting in the background, those influential ones. That auntie there that when there's a family function and stuff is there guiding and showing young people what to do and what not to do. They are having that impact. So live your life like that understand and be confident. I'm hoping you're going to gain some courage and confidence through this process that we're going to be undertaking here on Don't Die Unknown. There are four pillars I'm going to be bringing here on the podcast, Don't Die Unknown. The first one is a pillar of values. Okay, values matter a lot because to me and on my journey, and I guess to many of you, should matter a lot because they are those things you hold on to even when nobody is watching. Okay, I mean, in my book, I Don't Want to Die Unknown, couple of parts of this book, I talk about a number of values. For example, if you are a manager or a CEO of a business, the value of building others, lifting others is very important. I mean, the doors that you must open for others. You don't hog that leadership space until you die. You open the door for others. I mean, couple of times in the book, I relate situations where a door was open for me, an opportunity was created to me. I actually believe a good leader is the person who manages themselves out of a job, because that means you're creating an opportunity for others. It's a very important value, and I share a story about that in my book here, Don't Die Unknown. The other pillar that I'll be exploring, and we're going to be talking about in conversations here on Don't Die Unknown podcast, is that of spirit, the inner voice, rather. The inner voice. Inner voice is so powerful, and may all of us will have it. Okay, some people call it intuition or whatever you call it, but it's an inner voice. Okay, when I was 19 years old, 20 years old rather, when I got to Maputo in exile, my first year, running away from the apartheid police, I had no job, I had nothing. But one day, a voice, I'm telling you, an inner voice said to me, write poetry. I wrote a poem about the Soweto student uprising, and then I said, okay, what to do with this? I have no job. I'm sitting here and I know nobody. And then I was led, literally, by the inner voice to say, I'll go and see the local magazine. They used to publish poems in the last pages. So I went there. I knew nobody. I didn't know the editor, nobody. Just led. I trusted that we call it instinct, intuition, and I went. So, for example, if you're a young person today and you are thinking you've got an idea, you want to do something, and you are not sure, but this voice keeps on telling you, do this thing, do it. Have the courage, pluck up the courage to do it. Don't worry about the how of it all. Worry about what you want to achieve, where you want to go, and that inner voice will lead you there. So please follow it. Listen to it. Yeah, the third pillar on the Don't Die Unknown podcast is around spirituality and faith. Now, it's not religion, okay? It's just spirituality and faith. It's inside, because as the inside us, we have the power. We've been created with that power, and most of us, they don't give it enough time. So I have a situation that I recall with myself, that I had to test the faith, or the faith was tested by the situation, and I had to trust. So, that faith goes with trust, because it's something you don't know, you haven't seen. So in your life, for example, today, if you are making a plan, okay, if you want to achieve a goal, sometimes you spend too much time on strategy, okay? Don't spend too much time on strategy, okay? I tell a story in this book that for the first time, my wife found out. Got the book. I lied to her when I was coming back to South Africa from Mozambique so many years ago that I had a job. I didn't have a job, but I had the faith that I will get the job. And then I followed. I did not know how and who, but I knew. I had the faith and I trusted that I will get a job. I'll find something to do when I come back to South Africa. So have the faith to follow through, to do the stuff that you want to do, and spend time with yourself as well is important. And then the final, fourth pillar that we're going to be exploring, I'm going to be sharing stories about, but also having conversations with some of our guests here on Don't Die Unknown podcast, is family. Family for me from beginning to end. In this book, I Don't Want to Die Unknown, I dedicate it to my parents. It starts by talking about my roots, my identity with family. I pay tribute to my father, Guela James Moyane, and my mother, Sina Michaels, from the beginning. And then throughout, I talk about the book. And you'll get a sense of this book, of the role that my wife Odette has played. It's family. Now, many of us have maybe sometimes very rocky relationships in family. Our families are dysfunctional. There might be issues in family. Don't give up on the family. If you have a family, hold on to your family. Try and mend those bridges, because family, if you are rooted in family, you get value in there, and your life becomes significant. Your life of significance comes out of that, and you won't die unknown. On this podcast, Don't Die Unknown, we're going to feature different types of guests, people from different walks of life, as we explore conversations about values, about the inner voice, spirituality and faith, and family. So for the start of season 1, I've managed to secure guests like Dr. Roel Khoza. Many of you will know him, as well as Dr. Mpho Makwana, and I've got Dr. John Kani as well. Plus, I've secured young guests, a female guest, young people who got extraordinary lives, who can share with us around these values. I've got Ms. Dudu Nyumbeka, who will be joining us as well in the first season. So those are kind of guests. So not just prominent people, but ordinary people from different walks of life, because this is really about touching people beyond yourself.